just wanted to kick off by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands of which we work and meet. In Sydney, obviously, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and then we have our Melbourne crew here as well, so the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I just want to pay my respect to the elders past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples that are with us today. On top of that, I also just want to say, because we do work in aged care, this does really matter. Elders in First Nations communities are more than just seniors. They're keepers of knowledge, culture and history, but sadly, many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders continue to face significant barriers when it comes to accessing safe, culturally appropriate aged care. So I want just us to kind of hold space for that today, keep that with us through the day as something that we will all work better towards. Okay, so welcome to the second company-wide retreat of Vitality Club. Yeah, we had a down year last year, but we came back. The workshop room was a bit more comfier last time, but now we've grown. Talking up. So today we are. Sorry, I'm just waiting for Ryan to get in. Woo! So today, what's today about? We're here to, first and foremost, is to step away from our everyday. We wanted to get away from the spaces that we work and interact, to have a time for a bit of space to connect. That's one of the most important, not just with each other, but what we do as in aged care and for our clients and for each other. So what we do does really matter. We support families, we support communities, and today is a chance to kind of zoom out, reflect on the bigger picture. We want to grow and we want to just celebrate all these things. So in saying that, I have a couple of expectations today. Just what I expect from all of you to bring. I'm going to say this is as kind of an extension from our leaders retreat last week. We expected a lot from our leaders, and they came with everything, and I was really happy, really energized by that. So I kind of want the same thing today. It is going to be a long day, so we're going to have back-to-backs. So I want participation from everybody. This is not a spectator event. We want you to come alive with your ideas, interact. We want it to be open, so share your thoughts, share what you're thinking. If you have any questions, we're all open all day to talk about everything that you have to talk about. And then finally, energy. So bring your energy. Hopefully everyone's had their coffees and whatnot, but we're going to have a long day and it's going to be great. Just some housekeeping as well. So for those of you who weren't here 2 years ago, the bathrooms are around the corner. So if you kind of hang a left, around this wall, so if you just need to go, sorry? Oh, left and right, okay. So both left and right. Hang a right around this corner. There's a bathroom everywhere. This is the worst. I mean, I feel like me, Mina and Chloe, we work with Commons in Melbourne, we're quite comfortable with the space, but it's a co-working space, so there's other people around all the time, so but feel free. There's water stations just around the corner to the right here. Upstairs is the kitchen. So that is we've got a couple of breaks today. A few. So 10:45, we're going to have kind of a few light snacks and upstairs in the kitchen. And then we're going to have lunch at about 12:30. And then we'll have another break around 3 o'clock before we break for the rest of the day and then go head to Darling Harbour for dinner. What else is there for that? Yeah. Oh. You're right on time for our little shake it out session. So when everyone up, we're going to just shake off the cobwebs a little bit. Yeah. It might be lazy. Yeah. Just shake it off. We're gonna start with the top, our heads, go down to our arms, take off the body cobwebs, and then go down to the legs.
Shy.
This is my version of stressful. And a few shoulder rolls, forwards, backwards. Gemma's going to kick us off for the first session of the day. I'm going to put.
Hi. I'm doing very TED Talk. Got a microphone. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me, but can you hear me through the microphone?
Yeah.
Not really. Testing. Yeah. I don't really want to hold it though. You? No. No. Alright. No microphone. To let you know, this first session will require pen and paper, so you all look ready at hand, which is excellent.
Do we need pen and paper or you can do it on iPad?
You can do iPad if you can paper.
I do a pen and paper. Do you like drawing or probably need pen and paper?
But to start with, I wanted to, as Stephen sort of got the energy in, I wanted to welcome us into this space and into our first session for today. So I'm just going to play a little bit of music, and I'm going to invite you, if you feel comfortable, to just close your eyes down. Sit into the chair, nice and relaxed, really settle into your body. And as Stephen said, he asked you to bring a lot in today, so I want you to pause and think about the kind of person that you want to be today. Not what you want to do, but who you want to be. And as we come into this first session, I want you to think about what matters to you most in this work. I want you to think about what you bring to your team, what you bring to your clients, and most importantly, I want you to think about what you bring to yourself. And now I want you to think of some words. So if someone described you at your very best, what words would they use? They might say calm, compassionate, curious, reliable, kind. Whatever those words are for you, I want you to take a big breath in and really embody them, breathing out. Picture yourself walking into a client's home or into this room, embodying those qualities and those words. Now imagine all of those words swirling around in this room. We're full of kind, calm, compassionate, reliable people. Really hold space for that energy for each other. That's a story that all of you get to write today, here, and every day in the work that you do. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge how wonderful those contributions are to this world. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into this space, and bring that intention forward as we come into the first talk. Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. My name is Gemma. Pause, pause, we didn't get words.
Stretch out like a little. No. No, too perfectly dressed for you.
So I got all the stuff in the corner. Everything that's waiting. Everything, the one thing that we originally wanted to get took long. So it's actually very good that we changed our mind. If we did order it, it would never arrive. So it's kind of pretty good in hindsight. I'll do the Gemma and stuff.
Alright, let's try that again. We are going to start fresh. Close your eyes. Good morning, everyone. It is super exciting for us to be in this space. As Stephen mentioned, a big part of being somewhere different is for it to feel different, and I really want you to feel a little bit different today as we enter in the topics and sessions that we're going to go through. I think it's really important to take some time out, especially in the work that we do. It's very hard to sort of think differently when you're tempted to look at your reports, check Slack, do all that kind of good stuff. So we want to really disconnect and be in the present if we can. And we're going to try and align to things that are slightly outside of our norms. So the session that I have created for you today is called The People We Choose to Be. And this title is intentional because every day, everyone here, we make choices. We make choices about how we show up in the work that we do, for our clients, for each other, and as I mentioned, for ourselves. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So, over the past few weeks especially, we've talked a lot about metrics, goals, standards, expectations, all of that stuff about, all of the stuff about how we measure how we're doing, you know, and these things are very important. They definitely matter, and they are worthy of us being aware, bringing them into the work that we do, because we need to know how we can track how we're going. But they are only meaningful if we remember the bigger picture. So all of those metrics and plans exist to help us tell a better story for our clients and for ourselves. And that's why we chose the year of the narrative, right? It was really trying to connect to that storytelling element that transcends more than just, we saw this many clients, we wrote this many risks, we mitigated this many incidents. We want to understand that layer of depth that all of you carry, all of our clients carry, that sit below the numbers. And you can't tell a story without the words. And so that meaning behind the metrics, which is what I want to try and convey a little bit today. So our work is full of stories. They're stories our clients tell us when we visit them. Some of them are very long stories, but they're all beautiful. The stories they tell about us after we leave them, which are also important stories for us to be aware of. And the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are as a team and what it feels like to work at Vitality Club. And every choice that you make in every one of those moments becomes a part of our overarching story. So I'm going to start with you. And I want you all to reflect on a time when you have been proud of how you showed up. at work. Maybe it was with a client, maybe it was with a teammate, maybe it was something quiet that nobody else saw. And I want you to start to jot that down. And I want you to be really specific in your mind, like imagine that moment. And a few more specific questions. What were you doing? Who did it impact? And what about this felt good for you? I'm going to leave you for a few moments to write that down. Something you can connect with is, why did this feel like a, yes, this is the person I want to be kind of moment? Anyone struggling to think of something? I think that, don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be life-changing. It can be a time where you help someone out. It can be a time where it just, the stars aligned. You know those moments when you just feel like, I am in my zone, whatever your zone of excellence looks like. And try and pinpoint what about that feels good for you. Are you helping someone? Are you making someone else's life easy? Are you just listening and holding space for someone?
Do us do stuff every day, like answer your clients, just that stuff.
Can you only Josh if you
That was unsolicited. That was unsolicited.
Does anyone want to share? Minette, please.
So I had this bit of a confrontational phone call, which took about maybe 35 minutes, and this person, due to a major misunderstanding, or maybe because they didn't know what our role was in the notifications, to be specific, they were so upset, and they didn't say anything kind, and they were kind of using some swear words even, and mentioning how difficult the life was for them. But they were really provocative, like, and I'm thinking, probably as a human, as this person, Mine, in my personal life, I would have probably said something meaner to them as a reaction. But I was able to really, I think, be able to understand what their worry was and how stressful they must have been. And I stayed really calm, I believe. I tried my best to offer them all the information I had, the resolution. And I remember after that there was another practitioner, Rebecca, who also talked with them, and they were really, really happy that we were able to offer them our kindness. I was really proud in that moment. Yeah, otherwise I would have been.
Thank you for sharing. And I think that's such a good reminder, right? Like, our empathy, I do believe, is limitless. And especially in those scenarios what Minnie just tapped into is recognizing that it had nothing to do with her, and she stepped into a space to just really try and understand probably someone going through something really, really tough. Amazing. Anyone else want to share? Share?
So had a client who rang up really vexed about deciding on a home care package provider. She had a few providers through CHSP. This was for her husband. And I said, look, she said, look, I don't know how to understand this. I said, okay, when do your children visit you? Organized to meet them when the child was coming, and turned up with different printed options because the email was cut from her. And the child came in and I made him open up the ITF and look at it to fill it up for mother. He says, oh, she can do it. I said, no, she's looking after your dad. She can't do it. Can you do it? And kind of forced him to do it. And then after 3 days, rang her up. She said, yeah, I'm still deciding. And then she rang up to say, I'm so sorry, I decided to go with another provider. I said, no problem, good. And I didn't push. But then 2 weeks later, she pulled me back and said, look, I'm switching to you. I'm happy with you. I've worked with your OT child before and I was comfortable and I need more done and I'm coming back to you. So she cancelled with that provider, came back to us and she's very happy. She was very happy with us. That's what it is.
Again, that infinite empathy, but also stepping in to understand what the situation needed, right? Shova needed to mum that son and get him to do the things that were actually going to move the situation forward. And I think that's something that all of you struggle with day to day. Like, you have a lens of what can help this person, but that's not really, we don't care. They've got to want to do it too, right? And sometimes the most frustrating disconnect is when you know that you can help someone and they're just resisting. And that infinite empathy, that patience, that kindness, to just move them an inch along the trajectory is really underratedly hard. And I think that I'm sure many of your moments have been reflections of where you rolled with the resistance and you move someone further along, like getting their goal or their achievement. So sit with those. I want you to come back to this type of thinking and what felt good as we go through that. Thank you both for sharing. All right. Now I want to talk about our metrics. So we talked a lot over the week about the numbers that we're measuring. And as I mentioned, this isn't the purpose of my talk today, but I do want to help you guys understand how they can sometimes feel separate from those beautiful stories that you're telling, but I don't think that that's the case. So the KPIs, the goals, OKRs, our standards and expectations are all things that you've already talked about this week or will continue to talk about over the week within your teams. And the thing is that metrics are mirrors. So they don't tell the whole story, but they reflect what we care about and what we pay attention to. And that's why it's important to try and always marry both the numbers and the story that sits underneath them to get the full picture. So for example, when you write a goal about someone, that's ticking a box because we asked you to write goals about everyone, but it's saying, I notice, I care. When you complete a review on time or a reassessment, you're ticking Vicky's checklist, but you're saying that I won't assume, I'm going to ask again. And metrics help us make sure that the story we're trying to tell is actually the one that we're writing. And we can't have a great company without having all of these things that make us good underneath and then being able to tie them together. So as I mentioned, a few other things that you might not have connected to. So we talk a lot about metrics and I tried to link a few for them. So risks, everyone's favorite activity. You flagged them and you've actioned them. But to me, the story behind doing that task is you're paying attention to the whole person, not just the task that we asked you to do. Timely documentation, I'm sure every single one of you at some point had a nudge that something was overdue and needing to be completed. But timely documentation is not just a task, it says that you're equipping the next person with the full picture. Case conferences, the way that we collaborate, we ask a lot of you to be updating everyone, and sometimes it probably feels like another link in the chain, another step or thing that you have to add on. But what it says is that you believe in shared understanding and not working in silos. And if we think about the richness that can be gained from the 29 people in this room, that's going to provide a much, much more enhanced service than, not that your one brain isn't beautiful, but if we can harness that collective, it's going to be way more impactful. And our Slack communications, you know, we write a lot in Slack, sometimes we can't be bothered to update it, sometimes we update it too much, but what Slack says to me is you share, you uplift, and you model transparency for others. And by writing things in public channels where everyone can see them and you're open to feedback and you're interacting with kindness and energy, you set a standard for how we want to show up and how we want to communicate with each other. I'm now going to go through an exercise with you. So, to be a 10 out of 10 employee, in my opinion, is you can't just tick all the boxes of the metrics, right? Like you have to be able to connect more deeply to the why, the story that we tell each other underneath. And shift to appreciate that other part of your being and how you show up, how you carry yourself, how you make choices, and really embody that person. So you can turn to the person next to you, you can jot it down in your own, but I want you to help me create what a 10 out of 10 employee is from your perspective. So yes, you have to see your clients, you have to do your admin. That's really probably all we ask of you. But all the other stuff, the way that you approach with infinite empathy, like Nina said in her call, or that you read the room and enact with the way that the situation requires of you, like Shobha did. How do we harness that? What do we call that? So think about 3 questions. What matters most to you? How do you help others thrive? And most importantly, in the year of the narrative, but for all of us in the work that we do, what keeps the client story at the center? So you can make some dot points, you can chat amongst yourselves. I'm okay with this. We're going to spend about 5 minutes on this exercise, but I want to be able to turn this into an agreed upon 10 out of 10 Vitality Club employee. So I don't mind what your specific tasks are because you already know your metrics, but this is what we all agree is a standard that we set for each other in how we show up and the choices we make at work. Do you want me to play some thinking music?
Yes, please.
This class is called Deep Focus.
Let's do it together. Like one fire.
And I think about one standard you want to embody, maybe one strength that you bring, or one habit that you want to What are you jotting
I'm very reflective myself. I like to do this a lot. What do you guys Yeah, mine takes back a bit almost like how, I focus more on how, like you express about, like, oh yes, we have goals and things like that, do we want this, and like, what do you think? It's my things are like, it has to be like, trying to get back to those mine's a little like and then essentially that's what keeps it exciting. Yeah, of course.
What have we got over here?
Pretty much like whatever. Now that I understand what you said, it allows us to help them and then you're like, oh, it's also your problem. I put this there and then especially in the past, that's what it is. Values like less so then it's like I would become close to a better version of it now. And be simple to you. So that's cool.
Yeah, totally. There's a quote that says that people can't understand you until you understand them.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it's going to do.
That's pretty much what people that weird thing is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that's what I want.
They let me
Yeah, and then if you have people like, oh, there's allows and like we can help them to do things for them at the end of the day. Again, that's why I like these points because it's like teaching them who have fish for a day that eats, teach them how to fish life. So it's the idea like yes we can give them fish, but the idea is like we teach them how to take it the right then they can get back to stuff like that. That's all philosophical. Oh yeah,
I've thought of some stuff as well, no idea. Having clients, giving them choice, giving them role in their like goal making, giving them the path choice, or giving them the tools and sessions, doing things they want them to do, and even when I'm not there, giving them tools.
thank you all for your contributions. I've heard a lot of great chatter. I want you to we're going to keep coming back to this exercise within your smaller teams, and we're going to pull out, but I'm just going to share or reflect what I heard a lot of. Beautifully, all of you really value clinical best practice, and an understanding that that is not a stagnant thing. That's something that you have to keep pushing to be at the top of your game. So we all went to uni, for me yesterday, for some of you a few years ago, but it changes, and it is actually very easy to default to what you've always done. It's much harder to say, is there new information that I don't know yet or I'm not as used to? I heard from the OTs that they went and saw a bunch of wheelchairs yesterday, they're all feeling very overwhelmed. But there's a lot of new stuff that's always happening, and you get to make a choice. Do I want to default to what's easy and comfortable, which is our normal human setting, or do I want to keep challenging myself to keep learning, to do a better job, because that's how I stay at the top of my game, which is beautiful. I had a lot about empathy. I had a lot about valuing collaboration and sharing ideas, because you absolutely align with how I feel in that there is so much to benefit from someone else's perspective or someone else's experience, and that's really, really beautiful. And then I heard a lot of more philosophical stuff about like holding space for the clients, empowering them with their choice and their decision making, so that even though there might be a myriad of ways that we help them, at the end of the day, that's not our job. Our job is to connect them with the thing that feels best to them, in the person that they wanted to be. So thank you so much. You'll keep chatting about this in your team, and I will be writing it up together, but I really loved what I was hearing, so thank you all. All right. My next little bit, why, how, what. So one of the first leadership books that I read was by a man named Simon Sinek. He's a thought leader in that space. He's a thought leader in the leadership space. He does a lot of TED Talks, a lot of good YouTube recordings. He's got a few books and all this kind of stuff. So one of the books that I read is called Starts With Why. And I think I've suggested many of you to read them as well, maybe. I know that Josh is the only one that has. But I would really encourage reading that book. And he talks a lot about how people don't buy, if we think about businesses selling things, so our services, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he uses an example in the book about Apple, right? Apple is a company at the top of their game, so to speak, always innovating, always creating new products. Now, Apple doesn't advertise themselves as making good computers or good phones. I very rarely hear Apple advertise, do you remember those iPod ads where like the person's dancing and it was like that big an iPod? Am I showing my age now? And the little twirly, like rotating thing.
Define iPod.
Yeah, do you know what an iPod is? Before phones, it was the iPod. And that whole advertising campaign was just someone plugged in, dancing through the streets. And it was like black and white, and they were like, you know, Michael Jackson in there. And they were like really cool individuals, like, just they were a vibe. They did not talk about it at all, like how many songs fit on the iPod, what the battery life is, how many different colors you can get. It spoke very little about the product. It tried to connect with the why. And what Apple tried to do is make everyone believe that they're about challenging the status quo. That they're for people who do things differently. They're for cool people. Believe in thinking differently. What do you know about Apple products when they launch something new? There is a line around the door. People literally sleep on the streets to be first in line to buy the newest iPhone. I'm an Android user, so I can't relate, but whoa. And it has nothing really to do with the product. Like, I'm quite certain that Android makes good phones too. That some of those other brands, Dell, other processors, but the like core following, that almost cult following, comes from connecting to their why. And at Vitality Club, our what is, what do we do?
Revive.
What do we physically do? What do you guys do?
Service provision.
Yes, we go into people's homes, we help them with their care, we deliver allied health, like that is our what. But our why, the reason that clients feel seen, supported, and cared for, is because we believe in helping older Australians to live the life that they desire. And I would add in, with dignity and individuality and all that kind of stuff. But I heard so many of you speak about stuff like that when we were just reflecting on 10 out of 10. Doesn't matter what you think, it's what aligns with the client's goals to really show that we understand what is important to them, what is the life that they desire to live, that can be very separate or sometimes aligned to what we think is best for them. And so every single one of you guys makes our why real through how you show up. And that's a very intentional choice. You could go in and help them shower, or you could go in and try and understand what's important to them about the personal care situation. And that's the difference between a what and then how we do it and actually connecting with that why. And I believe that connecting with our why in everything that you do is at the pillar of being a 10 out of 10 employee. I do not think you can be that without connecting to our why and your why aligning with that. So, some reflection comments that I want you to think about. What type of story do you want to tell? When clients talk about you, what do you hope that they say? This is just thinking your mind. And when teammates think of you, what do you hope that they feel? Now you might have that super clear in your mind. This might be something that you continue to ponder and reflect on. But you are all part of this narrative. In the year of the narrative, but beyond. And you have the power to shape all of these things by how you intentionally show up every day in the work that we do and the way that you carry yourselves around each other. So to close this session, I want us all to write down one commitment that we are going to make to ourselves, but to the greater team, about how you will commit to bring your 10 out of 10 into focus. So this is a short-term goal. This can be something small. Maybe it's about presence, maybe it's about communication, maybe it's about kindness. But I'm going to bring you back to those prompts at the beginning, which were the things that made you feel really good about being your best self. What are you doing? Who does it impact? And why does it feel good? So whatever it is, write it down. Your quarter goal. If it's helpful, my quarter goal is going to be more intentionally connecting with all of the individual teams across this quarter. I feel like I see a lot of the CM team as their acting team leader. I work a lot with the CSOs, but I sort of flip in and out with the EP team as a whole and with Lena and the OTs. And so that is my intentional commitment to all of you this quarter. I want to be more present, and I want to listen more to all of you. We just have 30 more seconds. You can come back to it, Gemma, it's okay.
And we will be asking you in the October meeting about this.
Before you get lunch, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Alright, while you're still finishing up, I just wanted to leave you with this, to bloom where you are planted. So, the best version of this team, the 10 out of 10 version that I see, starts with all of us. It doesn't come from me, it doesn't come from a policy or a checklist. It comes from all of us, one choice at a time, one story at a time. So continue to bloom when you're authentic. And thank you all for your reflections and contributions.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I had a feeling it was
Okay, thanks Gemma. 10 out of 10 employees all around.
Yes, agreed.
Now we've got a healer. I'm a bit worried about a healer, but I think just roll with it as we usually do.
Andy, can you just stop the recording and then